Welcome back, everyone, to the FloTrack podcast. FloTrackPodcast at gmail.com is our email address. My name is Kevin. His name is Gordon. Thanks to everybody for subscribing to the FloTrack Podcast YouTube page. If you haven't already, going out to YouTube and hit that subscribe button. The title of this episode that Gordon made here is Track is Back, reacting to first post world results. A
I was
track has been
like,
back for a while, and then you put the reacting to first post world's results.
yeah, there was a little bit of tongue twister in the title at the end because I felt like I was reacting to first world problems. It
Hmm.
was just the first post world's results. And yo, track is back. That's the OG slogan of FloTrack. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I just have that vibe because we did such a big peak with all of worlds, all the
Mhm.
stories around it, the discussions around all those races. But now you're kind of like, all right, what next? And seeing results happen this past weekend was a nice little reminder that like season's not over.
No,
People are back.
not at all.
Track is back, and we're going to start seeing some races as Commonwealth Games kicks off. And the marathon this past weekend. The first track races start tomorrow, I believe. And
Yeah.
then Diamond League schedule coming back together. So, and we saw a pretty interesting domestic meet out in Memphis, Tennessee. So,
Hmm.
um, anyway, track is
What a
back.
good, what a good primer there. Did you ever take a class in college where the midterm was more than the final? Like it was worth more than the final,
I think so. Yeah.
or you had
Yeah.
some sort of project that happened midway through that was worth more than the final?
Ooh, I got a story on that. But so there was this one professor who laid out exactly how much everything was worth. And he's like, this is the rules. This is 10%. This is 15. This is whatever. And I was like, okay, you better follow this because I figured it out based on my grades that were coming through. I was
Yeah.
like, I don't need to do anything for this final, and I'm still going to get at least a B. And so I did a shit final on purpose. And then he didn't give me a B because I was like, bro, you can't just change the way you do the math after the fact because you knew that I
Right,
took
right.
advantage of doing nothing at the end. He's like, no, but like the last one is all encompassing. It's like, no, it's not. The last one is 15%. That's not all
Yeah, yeah.
encompassing. All I had to
It's
do was
15%.
get 7.5 points out of 15, and I was golden.
Hmm.
And he was like, no, well, I changed my mind. Like, bro, you can't change your mind. Anyway, that's why I never became a mechanical engineer. It was
Up
a
until
really
that last
bad.
part,
Yeah.
up until that last part, I was drawing comparison to the track season this year, where all the weight was on the midterm, and then now we have a bunch of projects and a final exam coming later on in the summer,
Yeah.
because just with the way the calendar worked out. And I'm looking at these Commonwealth games, not just results, but just like the news coming out and people like changing their mind about whether or not they're going to participate, switching to diamond leagues, switching events. I do think we'll get into it after this, but Euros and Commonwealth being at the same time or same, right, kind of back to back, is kind of interesting because I feel like some British athletes, they could probably feel like they could skip one but not both, and they'll end up skipping common. I'm just projecting here. I don't know if that's the mentality, but it's like, all right, I'll do Worlds, Commonwealth. Ooh, that's like right after. I need to take a breather, and then I'll come back for Europeans, where I think in a year where it would have just been if the calendar worked out, were just like those two, then maybe they would have just skipped on Europeans. But yeah, like Tricky Jackson of Jamaica was supposed to run in Commonwealth Games, and now she's running over in Italy, which is fine. I just want to see them run. To me, it doesn't matter. Like if you run in the Commonwealth Games or you run in a Diamond League, you run in European Championships, you run in another meet, doesn't matter because we got U20 starting as well too. So there's just all sorts of meets going on. So there'll be plenty to watch. Just a matter of who is where and who's shut down their season.
Yeah. Anyway,
That's it.
what are we going to talk about first?
Great pod. Just a wonderful start to the pod. We found out why Gordon had not become a mechanical engineer. Let's just start at the top here. I thought the meet
Do
in
you want to know what my my final project was for mechanical engineering that I failed, and that's why I never did it. I had to design
Sure.
a cap that you can open with one hand, like a bottle cap that you can open with one hand, and I called it the handicap. It was a little play on words, which I was more proud of my name than actual designing a cap that actually could be opened with one hand, and it failed miserably. We got it made, put it on the bottle, and I just tried to. It just wasn't even a cap. It was just like a. It was like at the top of a milk carton cap. I was like, "What am I doing?" Anyway,
So why'd you even
don't
get
ask me to
seven and a
make
half out
bottle
of
caps.
15? You should have
What's
gotten a
that?
0 out of 15 if it doesn't work. I don't get it.
Well, I did get I got like a 2 out of 15, but I needed the
Oh.
7.5. I was like, "Come on, this
Oh,
cap looks good. Has a great name. We're good. Give me 7.5 out of 15." But he gave me
I
a,
thought
like
you
a 2.
got I thought you got I thought you got the 7.5 and you needed more to get the B.
No, no. I
Yeah.
needed very little, and he gave me even less.
It is weird. Well, that just shows you how bad your project was. It is weird though that he'd say, "Hey, the culminating project for a mechanical engineering class is going to only be worth 15%."
Yeah,
Feels like he should have weighted that more in retrospect.
he
But,
should have.
you know, Johns Hopkins and their degrees. All right. Ed Murphy Classic. I,
Let's go
I have
into it.
nothing to say about it. I'm sure it's a great school. In Memphis, Tennessee, women's 100. Let's start with the women's 100. Tanisha Terry, 1082 wind legal. That's a PB for her. Tamari Davis, 1083. Um, that's a remarkable time for Davis, who quietly has had just a remarkable run this year. Going back um, to Music City, she ran 1091 legal. U.S. outdoors, she ran 1092 in the semis, then windy 1078. Then she ran 87 in the first round in Memphis, and then tops off with a 1083. U.S. U20 list, only Shakira Richardson, 1075 and NCAA champs has been faster. So Tamar Davis, still very young, obviously a bright future for her, 19 years old. But also Tanisha Terry gets a PB too. So quick turnaround after World Championships for her, but some fast times for some young American sprinters.
Yeah, this was like an unexpected result. Um, I think I wasn't prepared to see this quick a turnaround for some of the athletes who actually did compete at Worlds, specifically Tanisha Terry, and for her to just like coming off a world title in the 4x1 to just a few days later set a new
Yeah,
big PB. Very impressive, and it's a legit time. 1082. Like obviously we've been a little spoiled with the 10.5s and 6s and 7s, but 1082 win legal. You're creating a new baseline for yourself, and that's what you want to do. You want to slowly get better, and at one point when you're in your peak of your career, be prepared to run like Shrika Jackson or Shelly Ann or Elaine Thompson Raw. It just that trio is gonna be so hard to break through, and it starts with running 10.8s every time you're on the track.
yeah. Well, I think that 4x1 had to be a confidence boost for her. And if you look ahead to the coming years, people are going to circle that 4x1 as Terry's like jumping off point, right? Because that was not easy. And I know Jackson ran a really strong leg to close it down, but for Terry just to be able to stay composed, run a really good leg herself, and hold off a woman who had just run 21.4 in a 200 was no small feat. What do you think of Davis? I mean, Davis went pro as a junior in high school. Before this year, hadn't broken 11 seconds, and now she's just consistently sub 11, and now kind of racking up a good array of solid 10.8s too. She just
Yeah,
missed making
and
the team, and we could have potentially seen her on the relay. Remember, she was one of the people we're talking about in that relay pool. They didn't ultimately use her, but she's certainly taken advantage of this post World Championship season.
yeah, I feel like she's kind of been right under our nose this whole time, under the radar, getting fourth. A lot of times in U.S. I think U.S. sprinting, women sprinting. I mean, there's obviously like the marquee runner on the track and Sha'Carri Richardson that all the attention and eyes are going to focus to, and then the whole USA's experience was the storyline was her not being on the team and not really that these three women that made the team, even though we knew they were good, Hobbs, Jefferson, and Terry. There's just been a scene stealer in Richardson, but the third level degree is no one was even thinking about who got fourth, and who got
Yeah,
fourth was Tamari Davis, and she's only 19, turns 20 next year, and now she's running these 10.8s consistently. She's going to be a factor, and there might be a quick changing of the guard in U.S. sprinting right before our eyes. Like you see, like obviously you look at Abby Steiner as a collegiate, she did well, at Worlds, even after with the long season. You have Davis here, who's just 19, running
mhm,
PBs. Terry's still pretty young; she's running a PB.
23. Well, and
23.
Melissa
So
Jefferson's 21 too.
Melissa Jefferson, yep,
S
that's another college. Right, so you have Jefferson, Steiner, Terry, Davis. It's
Mhm.
like a new era.
Yeah, young core there for the US women, and again, I think you brought up a good point. You get spoiled seeing 10.6s and stuff. 10.8's fast. 10.8's fast. 10.8 when you're 19 is exceptionally quick. So we'll see for her. I wonder how much more she's going to run this season, but she's obviously in a great spot. Um, Distance side of things, Yared Naguse wins the 1500, runs 334. Just he had the strangest season like 4 races ago, and he just continues to have this. I just don't understand this. It's kind of a remarkable story of resilience that you just like great race, then something bad happens, injury, something great happens. It's just like all over the place, and that's just how 2022 is going to be for Naguse, I guess, because beat some solid guys. I mean, Eric Holt was a legit contender at USA's. Johnny Gregoric made the team. Sam Prakel in the mix. Sean McGorty. Like this was a solid field. Naguse beats them all and runs a pretty quick time too. Um, I'm sure he wants to have like a more consistent type of season, but after USA's and the disappointment there, I'm sure he's happy with it.
Is the standard for 2023 is the time that you're allowed to get the standard, has that officially opened for the 1500? Trying to look into it right now. So
Let
it
me
looks
see.
like um, qualification window. It's I don't know. I don't know when the qualification
I think
window
it
is
just
actually.
opened. I think it
Did it
just
just
opened.
open, or did
I
it
think
open
it,
for like longer distance stuff?
no, I think it just. Someone knows in the chat. Let us know.
Yeah,
I thought it was August 1st
they don't
or
even have
sorry,
the
July.
standards. The standards aren't even known yet, though.
Yeah, didn't they release them?
No, they didn't release the 2023 standards.
Oh,
Yeah, no.
well then how do they? Then how could the qualification window? Oh, I guess they retroactively go back, and if you ran the time,
Yeah,
then you're good to go.
yeah.
So I mean, what was the last year? 335.
335 flat.
So
Yeah,
maybe yes, maybe no. Listen, I know we say this every year, but if the U.S. can't get a whole bunch of guys to run well under 335 in a race, then they're going to be in trouble. They're going to be in trouble come World Championships time because what was it? 329 the winning time.
yeah,
Jakob's not slowing down. Chariot, Kipsang, Whiteman, Hoare, etc. McSwain, Farah, Tier. They're all going to be there. So you got to be able to run well under 335 to even make a final, I
yeah.
think. So it says it just opened,
I
according to
don't know if it
Scott in
did.
the chat. But he says, I
I
have no
know.
idea what the standards are. Oh wait, no, he has no idea
I don't think they
if it
announced the
actually opened.
standards until the end of the year, like in the
Right,
December
but
meeting.
the window I think is open, is what I'm saying.
Okay, but was this
I
race in
don't
that window?
if it
Does it make
wasn't, it
sense
just
to
missed it.
yeah, August 1st would be a more of a sensible number, to
No,
start
I
the
think it
window.
was July it's either July 31st or July 30th was when it opened.
We don't know that for sure though, do we?
We
We're
don't.
just assuming?
We're still working on confirmation.
This is a really great podcast of us just talking about we don't know, maybe, but it's not for sure. It could be one of these
Let's
days, but I
I
don't know.
kinda wish my internet would fail, like, during this part, so then we could have blamed it on that. But
Oh,
internet's solid. My brain, not
not
so
as much.
much. Sage Hurta ran 4:01, leading some people to ask the question, is she the next Kate Grace?
I don't know. She's putting together a pretty good 8:15 PB resume. She's already lowered her 800 PB. I think she's run 158 low. I think she's run now. She's running 401, so she's flirting with the sub 4 in the 1500. Um, coming along good. 401 is no joke. Some uh, post collegiate elites, they kind of cap out in the 404 to 406 range, and that
Yeah.
only certain people are able to break through and start running the 401 to 357 range.
Yeah.
And it looks like she's on the verge of doing that. Um, wins easily, wins by a lot. Um, competition, I'm not really who she beat. Isn't I mean I guess Josette Norris. That's a good person to beat, but
Yeah.
I think it's more about you're running 401. That's setting yourself up for 2023, and it would have been wild if she would have made the 2022 team. But I think 2023 she's going to be, you
Which event?
know,
15, right?
I think you gotta do the 8 again because there's 4 spots.
Okay. True. However,
Excuse me.
3 of those spots are gonna be very hard to hit.
Do you think she's more likely to get top 3 in the 15 than she is to get 4th in the 800?
Yes. Yes,
I disagree.
without a doubt.
I think,
Because I don't right now, she could be number if we had a 1,500-meter race right now with all the best women in the US, I think she could finish in the top 3 right now. I think she's that good. And with that style of racing too. I mean, she can close, right? Because she has this 158 speed. So, she could run with McGee. Why not?
yeah, she can run with McGee, but I just think that she has a better shot at beating Allie Wilson than she does at beating Corey McGee.
But it's not just Allie Wilson, it's Wilson. Aikens just ran 158. Like, there's a lot of women who are right there at 158. And
Yeah,
you're leaving yourself basically no margin for error because you got to figure somebody from that other group is going to pop in addition to the big 3 of Rogers, Wilson and I think Mo. But Mo did do her a solid. If Keely Hodgkinson was able to pass on that inside, then that would have been trouble for the US women trying to qualify for the 800 next year.
yeah,
I think she's yeah. I agree with you. I think she she's gonna be somebody that is in the mix for the team next year. It's obviously gonna be a challenge, but I think she can do it. She's been really impressive. And on with Nagoose and her doing well. A good meet for on. I know the world champs didn't go well for them with Hoare not running well. Beamish didn't run well. Klecker was all right. Monson. They didn't Mario Garcia Romo, but he's still training with Ryan Van. Like
okay,
he's
hold on.
coming in.
So that narrative that On Athletics had a bad world, did they really? Did we really think Jordy Beamish, Joe Klecker, and Alicia Monson were like medal threats?
Well,
We didn't think that, did we?
you literally picked Oliver Hoare to get a medal.
I
So
didn't say
yes,
him.
to answer
I
your
didn't say
question.
him. I didn't say him. I said Jordy Beamish,
No,
uh,
but
Joe
you
Klecker, and Alicia
expected
Monson. Did we
you
think that they were
expected
going to
be
be?
you expected Beamish to get out of the rounds. Klecker got ninth. I think that was a good performance for him. I don't think that was a bad run. The problem is you just have you're looking at such a small group of people and you're taking their performances and extrapolating it out to the whole group. Um,
I thought that they
Monson,
did
what did
exactly as I would expect them to do.
Monson got 13th.
Yeah.
It's mostly about Hoare and to a certain extent Beamish. That's what about Klecker and
It's
Monson
not
did fine.
Beamish really. We're like, oh, you should have made the final and got 13th in the final. Like, come on, who cares? Like, Beamish was
He did.
not in
He
anyone's
was
mind
upset.
of. I know they're upset, but I'm just saying, like, we can't like pretend that this team was like all like fringe metal threats. They weren't. Oliver Hoare was the only one that was actually
Right, and he didn't
legitimately
make
a
the
metal threat.
final. He didn't make the final, and then you thought that Beamish could make the final, and he didn't.
But the,
Klecker got ninth. I'm sure. I mean, Klecker beat Fisher at USA's, and a totally different race. I know, but I'm sure that was probably in his mind. He probably wanted to be closer to
yeah,
Fisher.
I'm
So
not
that's
saying
where
they
you
didn't want more. I'm sure all these athletes wanted more, but I'm saying like from a analytical standpoint, they did not like crash and burn and have an awful meet. They were what we thought they would most likely be. I don't know. Just like it seems kind of weird. It's like, yeah,
all right.
but
You have low
I mean,
expectations for people. I believe in people, unlike you. So I guess I have
no, I
higher
believe in it.
expectations.
And if you really want to say, if I would have said, if I would have said one on athletics athlete is going to get fourth in the 1500,
Well, that doesn't. That come on.
would you
That
have
doesn't
would
mean
would you have been like, oh yeah, that's a pretty good meet for them because that's the only person you would think that would do well. Like was Oliver Hoare getting fourth in the 1500? Well, they just happened to be Mario Garcia Romo doing it.
he's not
So
training with them yet. So I don't think that one you can't really count yet. Now
I know,
he
I
was
know.
wearing he's wearing the spikes. So I'm sure they're happy to have him. I'm just when you only have a couple people, you get judged on like one performance carries a lot of weight, is what I'm saying. And you look at what Monson and Klecker did at USA's, you probably thought they could have done a little bit better, but I'm with
No,
you. They also could have
they could.
they also could have done
They did.
worse.
They could have done exactly how I think they did. There was no world where I had Joe Klecker stride for stride with Joshua Cheptegei. Like that wasn't in the cards this year. I don't know. I'm
Right.
not trying to like.
Beamish,
I think
you don't think Beamish
Beamish.
could have made the final over Parsons? You don't think Beamish could
Sure.
have been a little bit closer to his NAU former NAU
Do you
teammates?
think
I
that
guess you could
like
say Nuring,
okay?
Grijalva.
Should we just be like, you know what, Bowerman, they didn't really do that well. You know, Woody Kincaid didn't make the final. You don't say that because you know that there's always going to be one or two athletes who have a bad day. And that's just part of running. So we don't hold Woody
No,
Kincaid not making a final against Jerry Schumacher. So why would we hold
well,
Jordan
you look
Beamish
at the
not
whole
making a final?
group. You look at the whole group, and you look, okay, well, but Grant did pretty well. Missed out on a couple opportunities. Mohamed, he was in the mix. All right. Courtney Frere. So yeah, you can go athlete by athlete. You could, if you want to tell me Bowerman didn't do as well as they wanted to, I'd probably agree with that as well.
I think
He's
if
not
I
on
would give
pace.
everyone a grade, if I would give
Yeah.
everyone a grade, only one person on athletics got below average. Everyone was average or above, which means it wasn't bad. I think if there was multiple people who had failing grades, then that would be a bad meet. There was only one person who had a failing grade,
Who?
or based on his expectation of what he's capable of. If I had to grade them, I would say that Monson and Klecker, they got B pluses. I would say that Jordy Beamish got a C. I would say Mario Garcia
I
Romo
don't.
got an A plus. I know you can't use them, and then I would say Oliver Hoare got like a D.
No, I mean, You think Beamish running 13:36 and missing out on qualifying by 12 seconds is a C?
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're forgetting how good he was earlier in the year. And I don't think anybody was saying he's gonna medal or even in the top 8, but I think make the final was very realistic for him.
Yeah, but,
But
like, that's all it was. It was just like, I
I'll
don't know.
listen, this whole thing start this is we're in danger of going into the Adidas versus Nike 4x1 Bednarik versus Norman rabbit hole. I think I started this off by saying it was a good meet for On Athletics with Nagoose and Herta running well. And after Worlds, they're probably happy to have some good results. You're like, wait a minute, weren't as bad as you thought they were.
They
So
weren't,
that's
in my mind. They weren't as bad as
I
I
just
thought as
said
we
I just said the okay. These two results though, are they better than anything at Worlds? I think they are. That was my point.
Sure.
I'm not counting Romo because he was a
Yeah.
late
No, I
addition.
get it.
Okay.
I get it.
That's all I was saying. All I was saying.
Oh, speaking of, our 19-minute debate about Kenny Bednarik versus Michael Norman, did you look at the comments?
No, I don't look at comments.
There were some people who were taking my side.
Just
And they were
it's the
like, I
internet,
hate to say
man.
it.
You
They were
can
like, I hate to say this, but Gordon has a point. I love that. When everyone
no.
has to say, I hate to say it, but Gordon has a point.
What was your point?
Look at this controversial opinion, but I would take Norman over Bednarik for my 4x1 fantasy lineup. Look at this. There's so many people who are like, you know what? I
So
agree with
many
Gordon.
people.
Yeah, just saying.
So many people. So many people are. I just am happy you put a 19-minute YouTube clip up about this. About literally one of the
Look at this.
largest
All right.
wastes of time.
Jared Stepp. I've got to go with Gordon on this one. Norman has Curly like talent in the 1 and 2. Maybe even more talent than Curly based on the quality of his samples. Norman's the thoroughbred here. Kenny's working his tail off and probably going to continue to improve, but edge goes to Norman. Thank you.
Does anybody agree with me in there, Colt? Can you find one that says
No,
Gordon
we
is an
don't read
idiot?
those. We don't read the.
No,
Honestly,
there's
Gordon
none.
is
I
right.
can't
Michael
find any
Norman
of
is
them.
actually shape can beat most of the 100 guys out there.
Based on what? He literally ran the 100 last year and lost to a lot of those guys. This should not be an anti Norman in the 100 thing. I think he's great. He's a big talent, and with more time and training, maybe he could get there. But you're saying right now who would be on the team? It would be Bednarik. It's not close. Bednarik
Mm.
underrated for a guy who's got 2 silver medals in the 200 and competes regularly in the 100.
Not
But
underrated in my book. He's the
you want to
2023
you
world
got
champion
you want to
favorite in my
base
book.
everything off of a one-off race in the COVID year in 100. That's we want to put everything on that. That's fine. That's fine. All right. What's
Was the
next?
track short? Were the tracks short during COVID or something that I didn't know about?
No,
Did he not? Did
no,
he
but
run like
you're
90 meters
Mister.
and
You
not
got to
100?
do it 2 times. You're Mister. Not one time doesn't count. You got to do things twice because Carl Lewis told you once, and then you tell everybody that. That one performance doesn't count. It's your second and your third. And that's
Yeah.
literally Norman in the 100 is one performance.
No, he has a
Again,
990. He's a 990. That's his second
right? But
performance.
you're not saying he's a 990 guy. You're saying he's a 98 guy. Is what you're saying.
No,
That's what
I'm
you're saying.
saying he's faster than Kenny Bednarik. That's what I'm saying.
Right. And as evidence pointing to that, we're not gonna go, you're not gonna bait me into this again. We're not doing
You
this
almost
this thing
got him,
again.
Gordon. You almost got him.
I mean, you're objectively wrong, but that's fine.
I disagree
If we
with
had a
that
relay
statement.
if we ran a relay
Objectively
team right
wrong?
now, yes, if we ran a relay right now, it would be Kenny. It would not be
Mm-mm.
Norman. Norman's great
Nope.
again, and the Nike team would beat Adidas. All right, that's
You
it.
can't just throw out the word objectively. It's subjectively. Come on, bro. Stop mixing words.
No, no, no.
It's
You're objectively
subjectively.
wrong. I know the difference between objective and
No,
subjective, and you're
you're saying I'm
objectively wrong.
subjectively wrong. You're not objectively telling me I'm wrong. Your facts are just your opinions.
No, I'm telling you you're wrong. I'm so confident that it's an objective opinion. That's what I'm saying. You're not getting the okay, anyway.
So confidence
All
in
right.
objective opinion? That's what level of confidence do you need? The subjective becomes objective. Like, what's that point?
You, you're right on that. You're right on that. It was a turn of phrase.
Yeah.
I'm saying I'm confident that you're wrong. AN results. We talked about Akins 158. Jonah Koech 144. Would have been cool to see what he could have done in the second round of Worlds, but he got DQ'd. That was a bummer.
Yeah. What do you think his ceiling is going to be? I mean, he looked good in that first round for a round that all the other Americans did not look good in. So you were thinking, ooh, maybe this is his breakout moment. But then, bullshit DQ just ended that. Makes his first team. I remember talking to his coach after he made the first team at USA's, and apparently his coach was trying to no, his coach was trying to make him run the 5K.
Yeah,
Scott Simmons was trying to make him run the um, 5K, make him run a 1500 more, but Jordan was like, "No, 800." He's like, "All right,
yeah.
well, looks like it was a good decision." So coach now is like,
Yeah.
"I guess you're right. Guess you aren't a 5K runner right now. You can run the 800 because he's winning races. He's just kind of on
He's
a good hot streak right now."
he's never run under 340 in the 1500 or broken
Yeah.
four in the mile. So I think the 800 is where he's at. What's his ceiling? He could win the gold medal in the 800. That's his ceiling.
I know that you're saying that as a joke, but it's actually kind of true because of the
I'm not
800.
joking. I'm not joking. You're reading me incorrectly today. You're not getting the sarcasm when I'm using sarcasm, and when I'm being serious, you're not understanding I'm being serious.
But
He
there
can
is
win a gold medal.
sarcasm in that. There's
No,
sarcasm
there's
because you're
not.
mocking. I mean, if last year you saw a guy run 144, and I said, I think that guy's ceiling is he could win gold, you'd be like, Gordon, you're crazy.
At what
You're
point in the
turning into
season?
me.
No, I'm not. I'm looking at the field and I'm looking at him. He's 25 years old. He can win a gold medal in the 800. You
You ain't
have to
wrong.
take into account competition. You have to take
Yeah.
into account competition when you're making a projection of how good someone would be. If if the Rudisha was still there, if 2012 Rudisha was there, if 2019 Brazier was there, then I would say, what could he do? Maybe he could be a medal guy, but they're not there. So I'm
Yeah.
saying his ceiling is a gold medal. He can win a gold medal. Now, you could say, what's Bryce Hoppel's ceiling? And I would probably tell you the same thing, gold medal. I could say gold medal for a lot of these guys, but that doesn't mean it doesn't apply to Jonah Koech. He absolutely can win a gold medal next year. Absolutely. Did you see any signs this year that the 800 is going to change dramatically for next year?
I saw no signs.
Yet.
I
We
saw
should
no
say
signs
yet
of
because there's
yeah.
there's some more meets coming. Right. So
Yeah. I believe that there's going to be one race, maybe it's at Monaco, where we just see an old the glory days of our 800, like some race out there that's just like, okay, life is normal. And I think we'll ride that high into 2023. I, I believe that this is just going to be a one off version of the 800 on the men's side. I think next year is
well,
going
it's
to be
been
good.
2 years, so we're already at a two off.
Two off? It's a new word.
It's been 2 years. Was it good last
You're,
year? Was it fast
no, it
last year?
wasn't. I forgot
Olympic
about
final
that.
was
It wasn't.
tactical. Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
It was
you're
wide
right.
open. If
Yeah.
career gets back to old career, yeah, 142, and then he's the guy. I think what's more likely is one of these younger guys or someone not even known to us yet is going to pop up and be the next guy. But maybe one of the younger guys is going to be that guy who then starts cranking out some 143s and then is able to run 142. Or Brazier gets back. But I didn't see anything yet, and I'm still waiting. I didn't see anything yet to make me think that the men's 800 has changed at all from where it was earlier in the season. So we would enter, if that's the case, we would enter 2023 with it being wide open again, with us doing another prediction contest where 300 people enter and literally nobody gets the medalist right.
A three I would have had a Venmo someone
A
60
three,
bucks if they would have won.
a three off, exactly.
Anyway,
All right. Checking on the chat. Niels, thank you. Qualifications window July 31st, 2022 through July 30th, 2023 is what it sounds like. So that meet was the day before that. So they missed it by
So
a day.
they missed it by that much.
Unless it was at midnight. No, I don't.
So did
Yeah, that's
did like
for
Herta's time count or no?
no. No, that was the meet was July 29th and 30th, correct? So,
Maybe. Yeah.
yeah, pull that up. Pull up the stats. It should be on there. Okay, or yeah, just the date of the meet. I was to say you could look it up on World Athletics too, but what does that say? I can't even see it. It's too small. Through the okay.
29th,
Date
sorry.
confirmed. We're rolling. No, you're good, Colt. You are locked in. You are definitely not the weak point of the show right now.
Who
It's
is?
not you either, Gordon. No, it's a combination of us. It's definitely not Colt. Colt's not the problem. All right. What else? Shrika Jackson ran 11-1 in the 100.
She did?
Yeah, in
When?
Italy. Tuning up. She's running apparently she's
What
running that
meet?
Diamond League this weekend in don't remember the exact city, but she's scheduled I think she's running in Silesia this weekend. That first post Worlds Diamond League, which is in 5 days. Let me pull up the entries for that women's 100. She's not in the 100. Fraser Price is in the 100. Oh man, this is gonna be a good 100. All the US people are there. Cole, I'll throw this on the thing. We can run through some of these if you want. Is she in the 200? Is there a 200? There is a 200. Let's see. Okay, yeah, she is in the 200. Miller, Weibo, Prandini, Gabby Thomas. This is gonna be good meet. Here, sorry, Cole. I will put that on the rundown. Boom. Throw that women's 200 field up there, Colt, when you can, and then the women's 100. A lot of stars locked in there. I mean, I think people wanted to see her run the Commonwealth Games wearing the Jamaican colors, but yeah, if you scroll down there, Colt, you'll see the women's 200. There we go.
No, it's not. It's
You're
in
fine. You're
English.
fine.
Scroll all the way
Yeah,
down.
that's the wrong. Third from the bottom. Okay, now maybe Colt might be one of the weaker parts of the show.
Yeah.
If I'm power ranking these. Tamara Clark, Tania Gaither. Yeah, so Jackson's in there, Miller, Weibo, Prandini, and Gabby Thomas. And then if you go over to the 100, that's where you got Shelly and Fraser Price running in the 100. So it's going to be good. We'll see what they have. We'll see what they have, post World Championships. I've seen it go both ways, and I've been confident in both directions and been proven wrong in both directions. They're all going to be flat. No one's going to run fast. And then, people are going to be real fast because pressure's off. Cole, it's at the bottom. The better events are at the bottom. That's what we need to realize here. Yeah, Fraser Price, Hobbs, Jefferson, Terry in that one. So that'll be a good one. We'll
Kev,
talk
you
more
do a
about this one
great
on Friday.
Kev, you do a great job at hyping up events. You should be a meet promoter because you come up with really great slogans. Like, we'll see what they have.
And the great
Come
events are at the
watch.
bottom.
Watch.
Come watch
Who
them run.
can't?
Why? Because we
Hey,
will see what they have.
I'm not here to promote the meet. I'm here to tell the truth here. Are you
Okay.
like the range of possible times Shelly and Fraser Price could run is enormous. Agree or disagree?
Agree.
Would a 10-6 surprise you? A win would not surprise you either way, right? Or we expect a win, right? But a win in
Yes.
10-6, would that surprise you?
No.
A win in 11-0, would that surprise you?
No.
So that's my point when I say we'll see what they have. It's just any sort of time is on the table after World Championships. And
Yeah.
I've predicted wrong in both directions, is what I'm saying.
I'm always going to predict that they're going to run slow until they start running fast again.
You should be a meat promoter. That's better than I can come up with. They're going to run slow until they
Until they run
start
fast
running
again.
fast. Hey, can you pull one more up, Colt, here? Can you go down to the bottom? And who's in the men's 100? I'm just curious who's still going to be running that event. Blake,
Okay.
Bracy, Bromell, Coleman. Ooh, Hall. Yeah, see, you said you weren't interested in the post World Championships 100. I am. That's a good group. It's a good group. No Curly,
I want to see
but
Coleman like run a really fast time. I think we want to see Coleman get back to like his 9.7 days. He's been kind of treading water all year long, and
You want to see that? You want to see the super sweep in 2023?
yeah,
Didn't
this is
quite
super
get it,
sweet.
and didn't get it in 2020. 2022. Commonwealth Games. You've been plugged into the Commonwealth Games, Gordon?
Super plugged, bro. That's all I thought about this week. I'm kidding.
Uh, Big story in the marathon. Uh, Kip
What happened in the
Langat
marathon?
of he went the wrong way, the winner, but he was ahead by so much it didn't matter. So Kipling got gold on the men's
How did he
side.
go the wrong way?
Again, he said the motorcycles led him the wrong way, and then he was able to get back. But again, he had such a big
Classic.
margin. Classic
Was it the
motorcycles leading
motorcycles,
the way.
or is he blaming the motorcycles and
That
not
keeps
himself?
happening, right? We saw that in a different race earlier this year, didn't we?
Boston, they kept going straight, and they almost missed that final turn. And then some
Happened in Tokyo
volunteer
too.
Yeah, the
was very
Tokyo one's what I'm
demonstrative.
thinking of, where he like fully
Yeah.
went the wrong direction for like half a block.
Oh, yeah. But usually they put that blue line on the ground. Seems like it'd be pretty easy, but it's just
Put a blue
follow it.
line for a marathon? That's a lot of paint.
Yeah. They've done that like in New York, and then people follow it too because that's the shortest distance. So they'll stick right on that blue. I don't know if they did that in the Commonwealth Games, but I don't know. Loud, a lot of commotion. Didn't matter. Ran 2:10, 2:10:55. So Victor Kipligat, gold medalist. They're starting the running of the other running events today. This was the kickoff. So we'll see that today, and then also U20s are starting today as well. It's actually like a lot of track for World Championships ending 2 weeks ago.
Can we go back to that photo that you were showing? Why is the Birmingham 2022 upside down?
Maybe the wind.
Isn't that weird? Seems like they should have positioned it better for the photo.
Maybe it was the right side up, and then with the motorcycles going off the course, just pandemonium ensued, and everybody lost their bearings, and they just were.
Maybe.
It was a free for all. Let's grab the tape. He's coming. Do you like finishing tape? You pro or con on finishing tape?
Um, I'm I'm con. I do think it's funny though that we think that finishing tape is supposed to be broken, but it's actually not. Like I think
Hmm.
you're as a child, you think the tape breaks, but actually it doesn't. Like it's not designed that way. They just let go of it and it just falls down.
Hmm.
There's no like breaking the tape, which kind of reminds me of different things that I thought of watching track as a child, not knowing how things work. Like I used to think that you actually break the tape, which doesn't happen. They just drop the tape. I used to think blocks
Hmm.
that they actually were mechanical and they would like shift your legs, so they are like propel you. That's why I thought people use blocks because I thought it was to propel. Like all of a sudden, when the buzzer goes off, it just does a quick like shift like this, and then
All right.
you go forward. And I remember when I first got blocks, like I did, it took a while. Like my like freshman year of, no, maybe it was 8th grade. First time I like saw blocks in real life on a track. I was
Yeah.
like, ooh, I want to try it. I want to see how far it projects me. I was like, wait, they don't move. We got the cheap versions. Why didn't they invest in the ones that actually move? So then another year goes by, and then I realized, oh, they all don't move. It's not just the ones that my school has. So yeah.
So how long into your decade of watching track? Because I know you've been watching for about a decade now. Did you realize the blocks didn't move?
Did you not ever have that thought that you thought the blocks moved?
I never thought the blocks move. I can honestly say that.
Really? When you're
I was,
like
I, well, I
8,
was
when you're
interested in the
8 and
different
watching
types of.
it.
No, no. I didn't think that. It was interesting though because you'd hear stories from like your coach and stuff growing up, or like parents or siblings like we used to have cinders and then they dig the hole and then you put your foot and then you like watch Chariots of Fire. So just I knew there was just like a different system of starting that had happened like all throughout, but I never thought that they moved. My one thing, and this is not a very crazy opinion because I think a lot of people have it. When you're young and you're watching track, they just everybody looks like they're going slow, especially in the distance races. And you're like, man, why aren't they like running faster? And then you run for the first time and you're like, oh, okay. How fast did I run that lap? And they did 12 of them that fast. And I would have been how far behind? Like, just it doesn't. I feel like the sprints it captures it, uh, but everything farther than like a 400, it looks ridiculously. It actually looks doable for
Yeah.
normal people when it's clearly not.
One other thing, well, I thought blocks propelled you. When I watched track and field in the 90s, again, my child brain, the camera was so zoomed in on the track that I didn't know how big the
Hmm.
track was. I didn't know it was an oval. And I was like, ooh, they're running a curve. Oh, they're running the curve again. Oh, they're running a curve. I thought there was like 3 curves to a track and not 2.
I'm surprised you didn't get an A in your engineering classes. This is,
I mean, once they zoomed out, I learned that there was only 2 curves to a track. But when I was watching it on television, they were so zoomed in on Michael Johnson that I was just thinking, like,
yeah,
oh, you know, I didn't know, like, what is a track?
yeah.
Well,
I also thought
little confessions.
because watching in the '90s, mostly Olympics, everything was prepackaged, and they the tape delay, and oftentimes they had it almost felt like they had the benefit of knowing who won before it was aired. I don't know if they ever redid the commentary, but it felt like the favorite always won. Like the person who
Yeah.
they chose to talk about literally always won. It seems scripted. So then when I got older and the way meets were broadcast changed, or there was an American meet on, and they would talk about someone who didn't win, it was just like, wait a minute, what? That's not how it was supposed to happen. But that was my memory early on. Just like whoever they talked about in the beginning won the race without fail.
Should we do a confession? Is it time for a confession? Colt, go to YouTube and bring up Justin Knight, Sam Parsons. Confession time.
Wonder where you're going with this.
Sam Parsons. Scroll down. No, scroll down. Not the first. That one. The one. Justin Knight unleashes huge kick. So this race right
So
here.
for those of you listening and not watching, Gordon, you want to explain what we're seeing?
Okay, so this is a kick from the Nuttycombe Invite 2016. You see Sam Parsons in the lead, and Justin Knight basically just like takes him down in the final 50 meters, and it was like a really cool kick. You can fast forward to the kick,
Mhm.
maybe a little bit. Yeah. So here comes the kick.
Yeah, it's good. And the way
So
it's
the
shot,
commentary,
if you haven't
yeah,
seen, hold on, pause it for a second, pause it for a second. Go back. The way it's shot, if people haven't seen it, it's from a cart cam on the side, and Knight looks like he's sped up. Like he looks like he's running
yes.
like 300 miles an hour to catch Sam Parsons. It's an awesome kick. I'm sure you've seen it a bunch. But anyway, go ahead.
So the confession of this is I knew the result of this kick after it happened already, before it happened, because my monitor was delayed. My commentary was delayed by like 10 seconds.
Mhm.
So I knew that Justin Knight was going to, because I saw it happen. I saw Justin Knight do the kick, and then I had 10 seconds to prepare for when the kick actually happened. So my commentary
Because of a delay. Yeah.
is delayed. So this is me was like, oh, watch out for Justin Knight.
Yeah, yeah. Well, in your defense, it became really obvious what was going to happen after about two strides because I don't know what the finishing, like the margin of victory is, but it feels like he wins by 50 meters after this because he kicks away from him with plenty of time to go. I think Parsons ends up getting passed even for second. Yeah. You do have that little added benefit of a couple seconds
Yeah,
for
it
most
was one of those things.
broadcasts. Some
Yeah.
broadcasts are broadcast. But Big kick. Justin Knight. Colt.
Just need an excuse to show that again. Sorry, Sam, but I'm sure he appreciates it. He
What's
loves
up?
that race. So.
I mean, just an insane kick. Anything that you thought about track when you were watching as a kid? I know you watched a ton of track growing up. You're a big track guy. We all know
Ooh.
that about you.
Yeah, I'm a big track fan for sure. All the time, have been. Not necessarily. I guess like there was always the rumor of we weren't allowed to throw javelin because some kid got stabbed by a javelin somewhere in the United States, so that's why we weren't allowed to
That
do it.
happens.
That
Okay.
happened.
Yeah, that's happened. That
Oh, that was
happens.
true.
Happens.
That wasn't like
Well,
a.
that's
Oh, damn.
It
Okay.
happened to Elijah Godwin.
yeah. Well, no, he walked backwards into a javelin.
Oh yeah, he
Remember? He
he
was running
ran back.
backwards, and yeah, he went right through his back. A guy who made the team this year, Colt, ran the 4x4. Got
Oh, geez.
really injured
I
in
thought that was
college.
like a fake
Uh,
story, like excuse for why we didn't throw the javelin, but
You thought it was like a "don't do drugs" PSA type thing?
yeah, I thought it was like a dare campaign.
Well, a lot of schools just feel like they don't have the space to do it safely, so they don't. And a lot of high schools don't even sanction, like states don't even sanction the javelin or hammer because of that.
Yeah, we didn't
But
have hammer
you know
either.
what's you know what's crazy dangerous though? Discus, and pretty much all states do that. Like
I
I
did
have
that.
vivid
Yeah.
memories.
Very
I
dangerous.
have vivid memories of almost getting hit or my teammates being out for a run and being like, "What's this metal thing that just landed almost at our feet while we were running?" It's like, wait, no one knew that the throwers were throwing in that field, and we just decided to cut across. Like, yeah, you avert disaster. I remember watching like Olympic trials in 2016 and watching the discus competition and watching the discus like skitter across the infield at Hayward and being like, man, if it took like one bad hop that thing could get onto the track. I'm like, who knows what would happen? I mean, there's obviously been horribly tragic stories of stuff like that happening, but I was still amazed that like there wasn't like an additional like safety precaution that they took to make sure that didn't happen. Not sure what it would be, but let's go to
Anyway,
comments. YouTube.
yep.
Uh,
We should check our email.
I did, I did check it last night. Bolt did not email. I was checking to see
Both
if
did
he did
not
it.
email. We
Yeah,
need to
I
get him on
wanted
the
to see if he
pod.
will. Yeah. Uh, let's see comments here. I don't want to see Sid. This is from Dr. JD Smith. I don't want to see Sid in the 4 meter hurdles again. She is too great. I want to see her run the open 400.
Agreed.
I kind of agree with that. Actually, I'll take the kind out of it. I agree with that. Um, yeah, I don't. That Monaco decision will be interesting to me. What she decides to run in Monaco, and I think that if she runs the 4 there, I think that's a good indication of where she's going. If she runs a 400 hurdles there, I don't think that means that she's not going to run the open next year, but it's more just like, hey, I'm kind of comfortable with this 400 hurdle thing. I'll just keep doing it for another race. But I think if she moves to the runs the 4 already and runs something crazy fast, which she's going to do, then I think that's a good indication about where we're heading into 2023. But I would love to see the double too. Like I'm all in on watching her run the 400 hurdles again at a championship if it's part of the double, and they need to make that double possible.
They're not going to.
Sure, they could.
Nothing ever
Why
goes
couldn't
as
they?
we want. Nothing ever goes as we want.
It's so funny to me how many athletes individually petition to have the schedule change that we never hear about. I mean, we hear about it after, but it's not as if there's this like formal public process. Like Jakob Ingebrigtsen is hereby demanding a schedule change. You just read about it after, like, oh, Jakob's trying to
Yeah.
get the schedule change. You know how you could solve this?
Have a universal
Crazy idea.
schedule.
Yes, there we go.
It's the same no matter what, no matter where, no matter how, no matter when. Yes, I get it.
And it allows for all the doubles that make sense. That's what I would say. Um, Anthony says, why should she run the double? She shouldn't. She should run the double because it's an added challenge, and she's a transcendent athlete, and I want to see transcendent athletes do awesome things. That's why. Um, Kelvin says Shelley's schedule's running 5 meets: Salisa, Hungary, Monaco, Lausanne, and Brussels. I mean, that's what you want to see too, right? If there's big meets on the schedule, you want to see the big players running in them. And there's no
Yeah.
one bigger than Shelly Ann right now. So yeah, go for it. It's a little crazy though to think about, um, like how long her season would go, and how much of the season there's left after the World Championships. But who's going to be against watching Fraser Price run?
The competition.
Sure.
We want to get beat. We don't want
Yeah.
to get our
No,
ass
but
handed to us by someone who's 10 years older than us
yeah,
or maybe more.
but I think she ran a lot post Olympics last year, so why not keep that going into 2020 in 2022? Um, David says, Kevin, do you think repessage? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I pronounced it right once because I looked it up, but I don't have the pronunciation in front of me. In 24 will help those who try to double. I didn't think about its impact on the doublers. So if you're trying to double, theoretically, you would not go to that heat. You would have no use for that heat. But I guess it would lengthen out the time that an event would take place. But without having seen the schedule for sure, I'm not sure. But yeah, ideally, if you put in another day, like if there's another day of the 1500, that's this bonus heat that Jakob gets to then, let's just use Ingebrigtsen for example in the 1500. Let's say the 5 is in the beginning of the meet or whatever, or even the 15s. Let's just say they're in two different sections of the meet, right? And instead of having 3 days in a row, or he has to go first round semifinal, there's just that added day there where this heat takes place. Sure, I could see that. There's also just some weird things with the schedule. Like Michael Johnson brought up the men's 400 schedule this year, like from these world championships, right? And just how like strange it was. Like it wasn't 3 consecutive days. There was a bunch of off days. And like this thing gets, the schedule gets tweaked every single year. So it's difficult to know for sure. But if you're telling me you're adding in an extra day's rest, um, then I think it would help the people trying to double for sure, as long as it doesn't interfere with the final of the
Well,
next
that's what I'm
meet.
saying. Imagine someone wants to do a double, but the first round of their double interferes with the final of their first event. So what
Oh,
they do
because
is
it,
they run the final and then they jog the first round, purposely get dead last, and then treat the reprisage round as their true qualifying round.
yeah. But I'm also thinking it just pushes the final day back, which limits the rest between, say, final of the 1500 and first round of the 5000. It would cut that time down too, which could be a problem.
Yeah.
So maybe there is a downside to it. Although, if Jakob or whoever is having trouble, Gudov's guy is having trouble getting through the first round of the 5000, they're probably going to be in trouble when it comes time for the finals. But yeah, I don't know. Like, even if you had a set schedule, this totally would ruin it. And introducing this sort of format, it would change everything. It's going to be a nightmare for schedules. I'm assuming. Do you think? So they're doing that. They're not doing this for the 100, right? But the 2, the 4, the 8, all the way up to the 15. 15, they have to do it on different days, is my assumption. The 8, I'm assuming they do it on different days. But do you think for the 4 and the 2, the the repessage would be on this, like would double up on a day, like a morning and then an evening? Is that what you think they would do?
For the 2, they would. I don't think they would do that for the 4, though. 2, I don't
Hurdles, I
know.
guess they would just throw them on the same day.
I don't know.
There's
Why don't
just
we just
oh,
why don't we just wait for like 2 years and then we can find out?
because I want to know now, because this is something we need to talk about in 2022.
And you
How
know
the
now
heats
on
of
August
2020.
1st of 2022 what's going on
Well, I
in
think it's a pretty. I
Paris
think
in
it's a pretty big
2024?
change. I think it's a pretty big change that
Yeah.
you've obviously already pointed out a flaw in it. I've talked about there the other issues that could take place with it, just in terms of like you just there's no incentive for those people to be the first one out, right? Because then they have to go run another heat, and then they're going to be tired when they get to the semis. So the chances of them getting through are a lot lower. Like there's clearly some issues with this thing, and I wonder how much they thought all that out. Because it's going to be embarrassing if what you say happens, but I could see someone doing that, and that'd be an embarrassing moment for the sport. A bunch of people just start jogging midway through. Oh no, it's okay. There's another heat that they're going to get to run. That's that's not a good look.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens though in like all sports, right? Oh, a football team plays all their third strings because they already have the playoff spot clinched. It looks bad to watch third stringers play, but they know it doesn't matter. So,
Yeah,
I
but we already
mean,
have that. We already have that with regular season track meets where people don't try. We don't need this again at the Olympics. The Olympics should be different. This would be more like at the Super Bowl, or the NBA final. People stop trying when they get behind, and but then there's no penalty for it. They just show up again the
I mean,
next
they
day.
do that.
I
It's called the NBA. It's called a 7 game series. Like once you're down by 20 in game 2, you pull all your starters and you take the L, and then you try to win game 3.
Yeah, but
That's basically
you
what this
lose
is going
that
to become.
game though. You lose
Yeah,
that game and then it's over. But you're not incentivized. Like in this, you'd gain an advantage. Whoever tries the least would gain an advantage on the next game. In the scenario you're talking about, probably both teams pulled their starters, and it's like, all right, one team won, one team lost. Move on, clean slate, next game. This would have a carryover effect because you'd
yeah.
have some people who tried getting punished for trying versus the jogging group. I just They took something that was pretty simple to understand that they assumed the commoners could not understand. Like, there's no way they'll be able to figure out this time qualifying thing, and instead introduce this system that has all sorts of flaws in it, which people will understand less. Why is the guy in last? Why are the three people in the back of the pack race walking this final 200? Well, it's because there's a repassage heat. Like, that's just so much more difficult to explain
That'd be
than
so
time
great if they
qualifying.
do start race walking though. They're like, all right, we got to
That's
act
what they're
like we're
doing.
trying, but I don't want to run. All right, let's race walk. Got it. And they
Yeah.
race walk the last lap of a 1500. That'd be
Yeah.
hilarious.
Thanks for
Anyway,
watching. Thanks for listening. This has
great
been the
pod.
FloTrack podcast. Just a terrific podcast
They're
from top to
only
bottom.
they're only going up from here. From here on out, they're only going up.
Wednesday, Wednesday we'll be able to talk some U20 results, some more Commonwealth results. Maybe we'll do the first half of our Silesia Diamond League
Mega
preview. We'll have
preview.
to split that bad boy into two, man. It's pretty star-studded fields. These fields might be better than anything before the World Championships. Could be some big
I do look
names. It's
forward
gonna be
to Saturday's pod. Going back to the live reaction pods. So it's just-
and you doing a solo pod.
You going
So that'll be
solo?
exciting. Most likely. Depends how my son's baseball playoffs turn out. So we're in playoff time, Gordon.
You're
Got
in
check
playoff
time
time.
over here. Yep. We'll see. We'll see what we have left.
I'm I'm
Is
thinking
he a
about hosting a party on Friday or Saturday night at my house, and I'm trying
mhm.
to come up with a theme for the party. And I
Ooh,
think I have my theme. The theme is going to be talent show. And so what that means is,
you invite Colt.
few hours into the party, every guest needs to stand on the back patio, which will be lit up, and perform a talent. Could be anything. Could be a simple,
Is this just an excuse for you to
party
try
trick.
again with your mechanical engineering project? Are you gonna try to
No, no,
make your
no.
project?
But you just gotta do a talent. It could be as simple or as creative as you want. You can have your friends do a little mini sketch. You can do a little musical number. You can do whatever you want.
what?
But every
What are you
guest,
gonna do?
I can't tell you. I have
I'm
I
not
have
gonna
a
go.
I have a
So
mixed
tell
bag
me.
of talents that I pull out for my Gordon Mac talent shows. I've done this before. It's called the Gordon Talent Show Party, and it's great.
Oh, jeez.
People love it.
Who's coming to this? How many
Everyone that
people
I
show up
know.
to these things?
You should come. I'll invite
Yeah.
you. You want to come?
I'm
Colt can
not
come.
going. No, no, Colt. I want Colt to come. I want my invite to double in power and go to Colt.
I'll get my type 5 ready.
Yeah. See, I mean,
Colt,
because what happens
if
is
you
there's
go
some
to
people.
if you go to Gordon's party and do 5 minutes of stand up, you will be an absolute legend in my book for all
That'd
time.
be
Please
awesome.
do that.
You would win the talent show. There's a prize. Give out a prize. I don't know what the prize is yet, but I'll find something. Give it to
Colt,
them.
how confident are you in your 5?
Not at all. I haven't done it in like
Ah,
over a year.
Be the perfect
okay.
audience.
Maybe workshop some stuff.
So yeah.
I don't know. I was just say I don't really know the audience because I don't know who Gordon's friends are. But you could tailor some jokes specifically to them, but I don't know who they are.
A lot of them are intramural friends, some coworkers.
Okay.
You're my friend, Kevin, as much as you don't want to accept that, but I get it.
Well, I'm saying I won't be there though.
It'll be family
Paula,
friendly, maybe in the beginning. So
someone says the prize is 10% of your earnings.
there you go. Of my salary, I don't know if I should do that. I'll find 10% of the remaining adult beverages that are left over at the house. You could take home with you. Party gifts.
Thomas says Gordon is having a party that he cannot attend. That's funny.
Harsh.
That's
Harsh.
good. Breezy, this show was odd. LOL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. There wasn't
we're
much.
trying to do an hour on the Ed Murphy Classic and the one marathon at the Commonwealth Games. It's going to be a bit odd. We need more track.
We're getting it.
We'll
We'll get it soon. Gordon took it off the rails with the on discussion. I think I'm gonna blame it on that. Colt,
Yeah, you can
what
blame
what are the chances you go to this party, and then we'll leave it there.
I'll say
Be honest.
50-50. I really don't know like what my calendar's like for the week, but I'll try to come.
I don't know if the party's Friday night or Saturday night. I haven't figured that part out. But
Okay.
Wait to get a commitment from Colt. So he's like, sorry. If it was Saturday, I could make it. He's like, oh, actually, it's on Saturday. I just changed it. I want you guys to meet in person for the first time when Gordon is hosting a party where there's a talent show involved. I think that'd be great.
It'd be fun.
talent show
We should
parties, they're great.
Do a
Have
do
you
magic
ever been to a
tricks.
talent show party? Have you ever been to a talent show party?
No, talent shows are just kind of cringy enough in general. So I've never been to one where there's a party, where there's a party component to it. Yeah. All right. FloTrackPodcast@gmail.com. That's the email address. Thanks everybody for subscribing. We'll talk to you on